I'm so glad to have you guys here joining us. So to start it off, we are going to start and get to the fun part. I'm going to introduce your breakout leader today. Her name is Shanna. She is from Santa Clarita, California. And who wants to know some facts about Shanna, about your leader? Who wants to know? Who wants to know? Okay, some facts about her is that she got into painting when she was an adult. She says that it is never too late to use your talent to glorify God. And she is also a worship leader at her church, and she sings and she plays guitar. That is super awesome. I'm so excited to see what she has for you guys today. So now we are going to have her join us. Okay, Shanna. Here is Shanna. Woohoo!
Hello, friends. Sorry, that's my forehead. All right. So for most of today, you're going to see my paper, but at the end, I'll show you what I look like. This way you can see what we're doing. Welcome, artists. I'm so excited to paint with you. Like Ruby said, I started painting as an adult, but I got really into it. And I actually work with kids and teach painting now as my job. So it's a lot of fun. So today for our painting, we are going to paint space. There's a verse in the Bible, Psalm 147:4, that says, talking about God, he determines the number of the stars. He gives to all of them their names. So I don't know if you've ever gone outside at night. I'm sure you have, and looked up at the sky, but there are so many stars. If you tried to count them, the sun could rise and you still wouldn't be done yet. But God knows every single one of those stars. And so it's an example of how much he loves us. There's a verse in Luke that says that he knows all the number of hairs on your head. Like he knows every single one. So as we paint this today, it's going to be our reminder of how much God loves us. So let's talk about some of our materials. We need paint. The colors you will need are red, yellow, blue, white, and black. You can use any kind of paint. I'm going to be using acrylic because it's what I have, but I have done this exact painting in acrylic. I've done it in watercolor. I've done it in tempera paint. I've even done it in this paint called gouache. The only thing I haven't used is oil paints, but if you have those, they will work for today. And then after paints, you need a brush. I brought a couple brushes. I have a big one and a little one, but if you only have one, that's fine. It'll work for you. You also will need some water and a paper towel to clean our brushes, because in between colors, you want to clean them off. And then a pencil, and we need an empty cup. So in my case, it's a Dodger cup. So we're going to start with our cup. Oh, I forgot to tell you, your painting, that you can have it either what's called portrait, so it's the long ways like this, or you can turn it and have your painting landscape. Either way will work. It's however you want your painting to look. I'm going to have mine portrait for today, but again, it's your choice. You get to decide. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is with our empty cup, we're going to trace some circles, because these are going to be our planets. So I'm going to make, you get to decide also how many planets. You're going to find throughout this whole thing that a lot of the decisions for your painting are going to be yours. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to do it, but you get to decide a lot of the details because it's your painting. I think I'm going to make 2 planets. So I'm going to start maybe with one right here. I'm just going to put my cup down and trace the circle with my pencil. Like that. So this will be my first planet. And I think maybe I'll make a second planet, maybe down here. And this time I'll trace the bottom of the cup so it's a little different size. All right, and then there we have it, our planets. Now again, you can do one planet, you can put it right in the middle, you can make it a real big one. You could do 4 planets. It's up to you, however many you can fit on your paper that you want to paint. After that, we're ready to start painting. So we're gonna start with our background, which is the sky. So what I do before I begin, depending on the paint you have, is I like to wet my brush so it's not so crusty. My paint brushes get crusty. Then we're gonna go into our black paint first. And we're not just gonna paint this whole thing because we don't wanna cover our circles. So we're gonna start by outlining our circles because we don't wanna color them in yet. So if we color them in, then we'll forget where they are. So there's my first planet. And now I'm gonna outline my second planet. If at any point I move too quickly, put it in the chat so Ruby can let me know I need to slow down. I'm trying to go slow so that way everybody stays together. All right, so now that we have our planets outlined, we can color all the rest of this with black. I like to use back and forth strokes because it spreads it evenly like this. Just go nice and smooth. If you have a paint that's kind of dry and it's not spreading well, try getting your brush wet and then dipping it into your paint. Because depending on the type of paint you're using, that should thin it out a little so it moves easier across your canvas.
Hello, Shanna. Some people are asking if you could please slow down.
Sure. Do I need to repeat any of the steps or are we okay right now?
We are okay right now. They are just getting their outlining.
Okay, I will paint this background very slowly.
Can they outline their planets in any color, or you are recommending black?
I'm recommending black, but if you want your sky to be a different color, go for it. Again, this is your painting. You could make this entire thing orange and green if you want. This is just how I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna show you how to paint it. Also, if you're following along with me and we're doing black, it's okay if there's a little bit of white showing through because we're gonna go back over it with another color to add some depth to our sky. So it doesn't have to be a perfect thick black colored in, just mostly colored. Oops, sorry, I bumped you guys. If on your painting you see that you have any big globs of paint, try to smooth those out. Sometimes when you put your brush down, it makes a big glob. So you want to just gently go over any globs. All right, I'm gonna give us like maybe another minute. So we can finish up our black and move on to the next step. I don't want to leave anybody behind. But also, if something happens and you get behind where we're at in the painting, go ahead and just listen to what the next step is, and then maybe move ahead to the next step and then go back and finish. Like when I move on to the next step, if you're not done with the black, pause, listen to the next step, and then you can go back and do the black step, if that makes sense.
We have some people who are saying that they are still coloring the background.
Okay, so we'll wait a little bit. I don't want to rush ahead.
We have 116 people on here. How awesome.
Wow.
Or 121 now. That's awesome. Welcome. So someone just joined. Hello.
To my friend who just joined, all we've done so far is trace some circles so that we can make planets, and then color all the background black. So if you just joined, you can easily catch up. So let's give it maybe 30 more seconds. I don't want to rush you. Take your time. You want to do a good job. If you're already done, then just patiently wait. Or maybe if you don't have your all your paints out yet, you can get those out. Or if you want, you can start to clean your brush if you are finished. And the way that I clean my brush is just kind of smush it into your water cup and get all the paint off, and then you want to dry it off on your paper towel. All right, I think I'm going to move on to the next step. So if you are still finishing up the black, it's okay. Just go ahead and listen, but your brush should be clean. I cleaned it off, all the black. Besides black, remember you need white, blue, yellow, and red, but if you don't have those colors, you can make do with what you have. Be sure to dry off your brush a little too. I do this by tapping it on my paper towel because you don't want your brush dripping. It makes your painting all watery. The next step we're going to do is we're going to go into our blue. And remember how I said it's okay if there's some spots where it's a little white showing through? What we're going to do is you're going to go put some blue on top of that and just kind of smush it in. We want to add a little bit of depth to our painting, so we don't want it all just black. And then once you have them, just kind of just random spots where there's a little bit of white. And if you want, you can get a little more black too to blend them. We just don't want our sky to be all dark. So if you look at the sky, it's not just one color. And I'm just kind of making some streaks across with blue. Oops, sorry, I hit you guys again. I'll stop doing that. Remember, if you have any globs, smooth those globs out. And we're not painting into the planets yet. This works best if your black is still a little bit wet. But like I said, if your black is, if it's like mine and it dried a lot already, You can grab a little more black, so then I'm going back into black and just kind of going back over some of these spots. I'm just kind of going back and forth between black and blue and adding some little streaks. So that way our sky is multicolored. And again, it's okay if there are some spots where there's white, because the next step where we add our stars, it's going to be all right. This will just look like stars. You just don't want too many big streaks of white.
If you do not have any paint, that's okay. You can just sketch with maybe a pencil or a pen.
You can also do this painting later if you want to just watch for now. And then I know after all the breakouts are done, they're recorded and they'll be available on the Foursquare Next Gen YouTube page. So you can always come back and watch it again, do it again when you have supplies. You could also use markers, crayons, really any art supply will work for this. My preferred medium is paint, so that's what I'm using. So I'm gonna give us a few, maybe like 30 more seconds to a minute to finish up your, call this the layering of the sky. If you're already done and ready to move on, go ahead and clean your brush. And remember, the blue is just an accent. Okay, are we ready for the next step? If you are ready, that's great. I hope your brush is clean. If not, it's okay. Then I'm gonna go ahead and clean my brush. So I'm getting all the blue off. You really wanna do a good job getting all the blue off right now and all the black, because the next step is gonna involve white paint. And we want that white to stay white. So we need to make sure our brush is super clean.
We have a few students who are still needing more time.
Okay, then I will wait for you. Give it a few more seconds. Not seconds, maybe like a minute. Maybe while we're waiting, I'll tell you, why I didn't start painting until I was an adult. We can fill some time with that. In my family, everyone, I have a mom and a dad and 3 brothers and 1 sister. And every one of the people in my family are either artistic or musical. And so like I have one brother who draws, another brother who paints, my sister can draw, my mom is a really good artist, and then everyone in my family plays instruments and sings. But so growing up, I really loved singing and playing guitar. And I thought, you can't do 2 things. So I was like, all right, I will just sing and I will just learn to play guitar. And I won't do art because that's too many things. Plus, I didn't think I was very good because I was comparing myself to my mom's art and my siblings' art, which you should never do. Don't compare yourself to others. God made each of us individual and unique and special. But when I got into college, I needed to fill a time. Like I had a class in the morning and a class in the afternoon, and I needed something in between. And there was a painting class, and a friend of mine was taking it. She asked me if I wanted to take it with her. And I said, okay, I guess so. Like, I'm not a painter, but sure. So I took it, and it like showed me how much I loved painting. And so that's where I started. I was like 10 years ago-ish. But so really you can start at any time. I mean, all of you are pretty lucky. You're starting now while you're young. You're already discovering your love for it. But I mean, you could be 100 and decide you want to start painting, and that's fine. But that's how I started painting. Are we ready to move on? I think
Yes,
so.
I believe so.
Okay.
A question was asked, have you ever tried to use digital art?
Digital.
Mm-hmm.
I have not. I am not very good at computers. Like, I'm good enough, because I mean, I use one, I have a phone, I use technology, but I've never, besides like the paint program that comes on computers, I've never tried it. Maybe it's something I can look into. All right, so for our next step, we're going to use white. This is my favorite step of the painting. So what you're gonna do is take your pencil in your non-dominant hand, which means like I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna hold my pencil in my left hand. And then you're gonna dip your brush into your white. You wanna make sure there's some paint on both sides of your brush. And if your paint is kind of thick, add a little water. So I'm just gonna dip it in the water. And then what you're gonna do is hold your brush kind of like this, like in both hands. You're gonna hit your pencil like this. And look at our stars showing up. You're gonna do this all over the whole thing. And so some chunks are gonna be bigger, some are gonna be smaller. And again, if your spots are not showing up, sorry if the clicking is so loud, get your paint a little wetter. But you wanna go over the whole thing. And it's okay if there's some weird globs, because I mean, there's some weird globs in space. And you get to decide how much or how little stars your sky has. I like a lot of stars. I like to imagine I'm actually in space, which means I would be completely surrounded. Not like where I live now, where sometimes you can't see the stars because of, smog and stuff. But if you live somewhere where there's not smog, I'm sure you have a beautiful view of the sky each night.
Speaking about stars, a fun fact about them is stars are made of dust and gas, and they actually come in many different colors, but on Earth, we can't actually see the colors. So I looked up that fact, and that's actually pretty interesting.
That is. It's funny you mentioned the different color stars now, because I was thinking maybe we could add a little bit of yellow stars too.
Yeah.
Remember, we're in space right now, so we can see them how they actually look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna add a ton of yellow, just a little bit here and there. Most of our stars are gonna look white.
Mm-hmm. So Shanna lives in Santa Clarita, California. That was one of the questions that was just asked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty, I mean, most people have never heard of Santa Clarita. It's pretty close to LA. I live about 20 to 30 miles from LA. You know, if you want to get real crazy with your stars, go ahead and add a little red too, if you have it. I got a little red here, so I'm gonna put just a couple. And right now, if your stars are getting into your planets, it's okay, because we're about to paint those guys next. So I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to finish up your stars. And then if you're already done, go ahead and clean off your brush. I mean, right now, if we wanted to, we could stop. This painting already looks pretty awesome, but we want to color in these planets here. If you have any spots of your stars where it got kind of gloppy, like I've got this little glop right there, you can either leave it, because stars are sometimes in constellations and they kind of look connected, or if it's bothering you and you don't like it, just put a little circle, make it a little planet. It's up to you. I think I'm going to leave this little glob. All right, let's start to wrap up our stars. And again, if you're already done, feel free to clean off your brush. All right, I think if we're ready, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our first planet. So for our planets, you can paint them whatever colors you want. I'm going to show you 2 different techniques for painting planets using white on this one, white and black, and then this one I'm going to use red and yellow. But again, it's your planet. Paint it however you would like. I'm going to start here with my white planet though. So my brush is all clean. I cleaned it off, got all the yellow and red off because we don't want it to blend in with our planet. And then I'm going to get my white. And we're going to start by cleaning up the edge of our planet. So we're going to go just around the edge like this. And then we'll move into the center. If you're still doing your stars, go ahead and keep doing your stars and wrap it up and then move on to the planet. I'll paint this planet very slowly so you have time to catch up. I feel like I'm moving in slow motion. So remember, if you're on the planet step, you want to do the outside of your planet first, clean up those edges so they're a little rounder. Because I know with mine, some of the black got in there, and it's okay. You can paint over it. And then once you have a nice clean edge, that's when you can move in and paint the center. It's also okay if your edge is a little rough. And you may have noticed, because I'm making a planet, I'm moving in circular motions. I mean, you can paint the whole thing like this too, it's fine. But if you want to, you can paint it in circles, so we kind of continue our shape. And then for mine, I'm gonna put a second layer of white just so it stays wet, because for the next step, you want your white to be a little bit wet still. You don't want it to fully dry. If you have your planet painted, go ahead and clean off your brush. All right, well, I'm done with my planets. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off my brush. And then I'm gonna show you the next step while my planet is still wet. If you're still painting your planet, go ahead. What you're gonna do is dip into the black. So I have just a little bit here. And I'm in the, we're gonna kind of make this planet look like the moon. And the moon has a lot of craters on it. So there's sections of the surface that look darker than others. So what we're gonna do is kind of tap our brush in the shape of a C. So we have, it kind of looks like a cookie. And then you wanna just kind of smush it in so that it blends in with your white. My white already started to dry, so I'm gonna go back and grab a little white and go back over this black C, because you don't want it to just be a bunch of, we're not making a chocolate chip cookie in the sky. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, it's your painting.
Hello, Shanna. So I have someone who is asking, is there any recommendations that you have so they could follow step-by-step paintings like the one you're doing, maybe on YouTube?
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of YouTube painters. I watch videos all the time. That's what I do when I'm bored, of just people painting stuff. So you could even just look, search step-by-step painting, or you can even search specific things. Like if you want to paint a flower, you'll be like step-by-step flower paintings, and you'll find a bunch of different options. So see, as we're mixing this black and white together, it's kind of giving us this, like there's spots where there's shadow, there's spots where there's light. So you want to just keep doing that. And again, we're constantly moving in that C shape, like this, like a C, the letter C. And if there's spots, or see, like I kind of went out of my planet, that's fine. You can just clean off your brush, go back into your white, and straighten that out a little.
So some students are asking if you could please slow down and if you could explain how to do the moon again.
Sure. Let me just fix my edges. Okay. So I'm going to show you without paint on my brush because I already painted it. But so you're going to paint your whole moon white. And then while your white is still wet, you're going to get some black and make the shape of a C by tapping your brush. It's going to kind of, at first it kind of looks like a chocolate chip, only it's white with chocolate chips. And then as you continue to tap it, our colors blend together and make this gray, but there's still areas where there's black. If your paint has dried, then go back in with your white and go back on top of your black, but still moving in that circular C motion. Because there are sections where you want to still leave some white, or you can always put white back on top, like this. Just so we add the different dimensions of the moon. But again, every time I'm still moving in that C shape. And if your edges got a little messy like mine did, feel free to go around your edge and fix it. Just make sure you don't cover up what you did with the C. You'll want to go back over that after. So like I'm going to clean up this side a little. Then I'm still going to, after I clean it up, I'm still going to tap that gray back into it. This side of my planet's still a little messy. I'm going to clean that guy up a little. And again, I'm going to tap to blend that gray and black together. And remember, if you don't want to make a moon, if you want to make something else, go for it. This is your painting. And now for mine, I went back into my black a little bit, just the tiniest bit of black, like I'll show you. It's like this tiny, tiny little amount. I even tap it on my paper towel so it's not too much. Just kind of add just a tiny bit, just so it adds our shadows, gives us that dimension we want. And then when you're done, you can go ahead and clean your brush. That'll give us another minute or two to finish up our first planet. And again, if you chose to make 3 or 4 planets, you can move on to the next one if you're not going to follow what I'm making. But again, if you want to see how I'm doing it, feel free to wait. And if you found that maybe yours got kind of muddy, like it just all looks gray, leave it alone and let it dry a little bit. And then you can go back over it with some white and some black and add your shadows again. You can always go back to paintings. I do that all the time. I'll make a painting and I'll think I'm done, or I'll think this looks terrible, I don't like it. And then I'll go look at it the next day and I'll think, oh, I can fix this, and I'll add stuff and change it. And again, you can always watch this again later once it's available on the Foursquare Next Gen stuff. But I'm gonna move on to our next planet. And for my next planet, I'm gonna make it red and yellow, but I'm gonna start with yellow. So I cleaned my brush really well, got all the paint off. Then we're gonna do the same thing we did with the moon. You wanna start with your edges and get it nice and clean and cover up some of those spots where your sky got into your planet. If you're still seeing some of the black through, like here I have some black showing through, it's okay. You can wait till it dries a little and go back over it. And then once you have your edges, fill in the center. And then once your planet is colored in fully yellow, go ahead and clean off your brush. And then for this planet, we're gonna give it what's gonna look like stripes. But it's not gonna be like how you think, like not just straight across. So I'm gonna go into my red. And I don't know what kind of brush you're using, but most brushes you either have a flat side or the thin side, or sometimes it's a point. You wanna use the thinnest portion of your brush. So for mine, it's this edge right here. So I just have paint on this edge. And you're gonna take your red and just kind of make a stripe, but you don't want it to fully connect. Like see, I have a little hole right there in that stripe, and you don't want a perfectly straight line because our planet is round. So you want to curve it a little bit. And see, I'm not making them too dark. They're just kind of barely there, and I'm leaving some gaps in between my stripes. It's not a complete solid line. I have a gap here, I have a gap there, one there. Just to add a little depth to our planet, give it a little, make it a little spicy. You can always add a little yellow back on top if your red's looking a little harsh. My red looked a little harsh. And those don't have to be perfect lines. See, I'm kind of, just by tapping my brush on top of them, kind of blurring them out a little bit, just to, because we don't want a perfect straight line. I don't think that's what planets look like. So they're kind of messy stripes going across our planet there. And if you chose to paint your planets different, that's fine. You could also add a ring to your planet if you decided to make Saturn or one of the other planets that have a ring. But you would just make a squished oval going around it like that. Maybe I'll do that just to show you. I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush because it's easier to control. But if you have the same brush, use the same one. You don't have to do this ring. I just want to show you how to do it. But you make, because an oval is like a circle, but we're making ours flat like this. You have to imagine that the back line of our oval is behind the planet. So it's going to come out here from the side, go around like that, and then go across our planet. And then it's going to come from the back again and connect. And if your planet's still a little wet, then wait, you can do this anytime. You don't need to put a ring right now. And then maybe just add a little shading to my ring. I dipped my brush into black, but then wiped most of it off. And then I'm just gonna go real close to the edge, just to give it a little, so it looks a little more three-dimensional. It's not just this flat thing. And I'm just kind of barely going onto the white that's already there. But again, this part, totally optional. If you like your planet without a ring, then don't put a ring on it. I'm mainly doing this so that our friends who are still painting their planets have time to finish up. Because we only have a couple more steps and then our space painting is complete. And really the last few steps are also optional because it's just some details we can add to our galaxy. All right, so now I'm gonna show you a fun and kind of messy way to make a shooting star. So there's two ways. There's the non-messy way and the messy way. I'm gonna show you both. I'll show you the non-messy way first. So the non-messy way, we're going to take our brush, get a little white, and again, it's gonna be on the flattest side of our brush, and you just put your brush down and go like that. Just a little swipe. So I'll put another one right here. And again, this is the non-messy way. I'm gonna show you the messy way too, because I like making a mess. Put it down, swipe. And you want your shooting stars to kind of go in the same direction. That way, none of them crash into each other. But now I'm gonna show you the messy way. So what you're gonna do, is you're gonna take your finger, and you're gonna dip it in your white paint so that there's paint on the top and the bottom of your finger, like this. And then I'm gonna dip my finger in the water so it's really wet. So again, top and bottom, really wet. Then you're gonna take your finger, go really close to your painting and flick. And then that kind of, I mean, it's not as a perfect, I keep hitting it, there we go. And see, now we got this like comet with a tail. Do it again. This time I gotta stand up. Then I'm just gonna tap so that it's all connected. Go back to that messy way, and it works best if there's paint on the top of your finger. See, the top of my finger is pretty messy. See, and we got this. And then maybe I'll add a few more of the non-messy shooting stars around it. And you can even clean up your messy shooting star by adding, like going back over it with your brush and just kind of tapping, giving it a little. And remember, just the swipes. I'll add a couple more of the non-messy shooting stars. You just tap it, swipe, tap and swipe. That one's not very swipey. Let's do that one again. I think we need one more up here at the top. Tap and swipe. I think I'm gonna add a little tiny bit of blue onto this messy guy, just because he looks plain. And again, just a little tapping. Maybe I'll add a little bit of blue into its tail. And then if you want to make those stars that kind of look like they're shining, like in, you know, like Disney movie stars, you can just do like a little thing like that. Just like a little T. Do a little T up here. Little shiny little guy. And then really, that's our planet. I mean, that's our space painting. You can add any extra details that you want. I mean, if you want a spaceship landing on your moon, go for it. I don't think I'm gonna draw one, but. Oops, sorry, I hit you guys again. Just gonna go back over my yellow right here. The black is showing through. You could also add some, like, because we know we did our splatter stars. If you want some bigger ones, just go back in and do some dots. And add a couple bigger guys. Maybe I'll do a yellow couple big guys. And a red couple big guys. I'm gonna add some red to this comet because he's looking real white. And then there you have it, our space painting. So Ruby is going to pick a couple friends who are done and want to show us their painting. Because you've seen mine, but I'd like to see some of yours. So Ruby, if you want to go ahead and select some friends.
Yes, definitely.
And then after we see some friends' paintings, I'll show you what I look like, because this whole time you've only seen my hands. I do have a face. Maybe right now while we're waiting, while Ruby's finding our friends, in the chat, can you tell me what your favorite part of our painting was today? Like, for me, I love making the messy shooting star, because I like getting my hands messy. Seeing a lot of you like the stars, that's also one of my favorite parts. Really, any of the messy parts of any painting are my favorite.
Okay, so I should have Brinley. I don't think I'm saying your name right, but your video should be on, but I do not see you. So,
Hi, sorry. It's Brinley.
Brinley. Oh, that looks amazing.
awesome. May we see it? How can I see it? Oh, there it is.
That looks so great. Great job.
Thanks. Mom helped me too.
Oh, yeah? Well, you did an amazing job.
There's your face. Thanks. Please stop saying my face like that, Mommy. So they can see you. Oh, yeah.
Great job. Good work, Brinley.
Thank you.
That is great. Awesome.
Thanks. I should go show you something. No, I'm not.
So now I have Isabel. You're able to show your painting with us, but can we see your painting, Isabel? There she goes. Isabel, are you here with us?
Yes.
Hello, can we see your painting, please? You ready?
You just have to turn on your camera.
She's holding it up. Can you see her?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, that's
great
beautiful.
job.
Can you go a little bit more back? There we go. That's so nice. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay, so now we will be doing Emma. So I have Emma and Lily and Emma. So can both of you show your guys' video?
Oh, wow. Look at those. I love the choices you made. Excellent.
Can you see them?
Yeah, well, I'm using my phone, so if I swipe over, I could see them.
Okay, there it goes. Now I could see. Awesome.
And just so you know, because obviously we can't see everybody's painting, but I'd really like to see your paintings. So you can either put them on Facebook. There's a group for the Summer Digital Experience, the Foursquare Next Gen. Feel free to post it on there, and I'll make a post too. Or if you put it on Instagram, you can tag Foursquare Next Gen. Because, I mean, yes, I love painting, but I really love seeing what you guys made.
Yes.
So be sure to have if your parents have social media, to go ahead and post those on both Facebook and Instagram, tagging Foursquare Next Gen.
Yes, and I also put that in the chat so you guys could see. It is right there. It's in the chat just to encourage you guys to post on Facebook, Instagram, any social media, and to tag us so we could see it. Even though we weren't able to see all your guys' paintings, we are able to see some of your guys', which are so beautiful, and especially Shanna, she can't wait to see all your guys' hard work that you guys did.
And then let me turn my camera. I told you I would show you that I am a real person. I do exist. And I have a face. This is what I look like. But I had so much fun painting with you. This was so much fun. Remember, you can always watch it again, so it'll be saved. But thank you guys. I had a lot of fun with you today.
So thank you all for participating. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see your guys' painting. I had so much fun just watching and just chatting up with you guys. So can we all please say thank you to Shanna for showing us how to be creative artists? Also, I just want to remind you guys that on Sunday, it's a worship night, so you can invite your friends and family. And I hope you guys know that God has uniquely placed and gifted you with amazing talent so that you could glorify Him. Please know how loved you are, and thank you for being with us today. Bye. Take care.
Bye.